Oh, there we go. Okay. How's this? There we go. Oh, don't know what that is. Dead leaves in the ground when I know you're not around. Shiny tops and soda pops when I hear your lips make a sound. When I hear your lips make a sound. 30 notes in the mailbox when I tell you that I'm coming home. And I think I'm gonna stick around for a while so you're not alone. For a while so you're not alone. Bam, 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 dun, 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 dun. Nice, welcome. We got two people in the mix. I was what was I doing? Yes, hello Ronan. Oh, I'm back on the live streams. I gotta do these more often. It seems to the algorithm seems to bless these. The algorithm likes these. I get new people finding these all the time. I think it's because there's some reward that the internet offers when one engages with the chat. How we feeling, chat? Let's get some W's in the chat. Chat. I guess that's how people talk now. And you know what? It's lucrative. I guess. Cause who's that one guy? The street. There's some streamer. Some streamer just got like this huge, like multi-million-dollar deal. Um, what's his name? The seemingly disabled fellow from Canada. XQC is his name. Thank you for the W. Will. Sup multi dog 420. Uh, oh, you want me to sing some corn? Uh, keep holding on. And hit me tonight. I'm coming undone. That was one of the first CDs I ever bought. Was whatever that corn CD is that track is on. Um, I can't remember the name. What was the name of that CD? Like "See You on the Other Side" or "Catch You on the Flip Side" or something like that. What was the name of the corn CD with Twisted Transistor? Um, oh, I gotta look that up. That's one of the first. Yeah, "See You on the Other Side." Okay, yeah, that was one of the first CD. I think the first CD I ever bought was I had a coupon for Best Buy, and so I bought 2004 American Idiot was the first CD that I ever bought on my own when my parents drove me to Best Buy. Um, and then I think the next the next time I would buy a CD was Serge Tankian's first solo album. Was I think like the next time I bought a CD, other than because most of my music was just LimeWire. I was just downloading stuff off LimeWire and just wrecking family computers doing that, trying to cobble CDs together from disparate files that I was finding on LimeWire. Um, and that's gone now. The youth of today does not know because everything has been aggregated to various streaming platforms, and so I guess like the convenience of being able to just pay a monthly fee and have everything at your fingertips is more enticing than just putting in the legwork and getting everything for free anyway, which was what we used to have to do. You used to download LimeWire and then individually find like each file for the CD you wanted, and then you have to and then you have to build it on like Windows Media Player or something. You build it on there and then transfer it to an actual CD to play it in your car, or you put it on a like an MP3 player, and then you get one of them one of them tape decks that had a headphone jack on it. Remember those? It was like a tape deck that some sort of mystical technology they had that where you could put a tape deck in your car, and then attached to the tape deck to the tape was a cord, like a headphone jack, like a 1/8 inch headphone jack, and you plug that into your MP3 player, and somehow it would like uh transpose the music from your MP3 player to the tape in the tape deck, and then play it through your car stereo. I use that a lot. And then that went away, and they replaced it, and then everything in cars was Bluetooth. So rather than have a CD player where you just put a CD in, or the tape deck, then you had to spend 15 to 20 minutes trying to figure out how to get this fucking thing to connect to your phone. Every car, this broken Bluetooth technology that has never been consistent or worked the way it's supposed to with anything. It's different on every device, and it never fucking works. Because I used to work at Enterprise Rent a Car, and I like when I would get a new car each time, I would want to play my own music, and it would take me for fucking ever to figure out how to get the fucking goddamn Bluetooth in the car to connect to my phone. It's like, what would be easier if I could just put the fucking the tape in the tape deck and plug that in. That was the apex of car music technology, was the the poor people tape deck with the headphone jack. Because yeah, Bluetooth is broken. It doesn't fucking it doesn't work the way it's supposed to across like all the devices that offer it. So like sometimes you'll buy like a Bluetooth speaker that works fine, but then you get into your truck and the Bluetooth in the truck is just completely fucking broken, and it never connects the way it's supposed to. And then it like presumably the truck itself remembers your device, right? So it remembers it. It's trying to connect and it won't. So then you have to then you have to go in and like manually select for the truck to forget the device, so that you can then reconnect it, do it like all over again from scratch to see if that'll work. It's just such a pain in the ass. It's just like every effort, everybody's just constantly trying to improve upon everything, and in doing so they just make life more tedious and difficult for us. When it's like there's been so many points in human history when it's like for whatever it is, whatever the consumer product is, we figured it out. We figured out the best version of something, but because we have this like, well, I don't even know what it is. This thing inside of us that just feels like, no, this can still be improved upon. We can keep building on top of this. We end up making something that worked really well, just end up not fucking working, and then that becomes our new reality. And then I sit here and remember when shit actually used to work, and just long for those days. Long for the days when maybe the internet wasn't as fast, but at least all the devices actually fucking worked the way they were supposed to. And video games were better. Video games fucking suck now. That's for sure. Uh, 'Cause I mean, look at what they're doing to us with the games. I mean, I don't really play games that much anymore. Ever since I became homeless, but it's just like every game now, at least the big ones, it's this like mess. It's this jumbled mess of like seasons and battle passes and microtransactions, and the game's not even finished when it comes out. And I would play a new Kingdom Hearts, yes. Um, Even though I haven't played most of those games, I've only played the first three. I played part one, and I played Chain of Memories, and I played Kingdom Hearts 2, and then I think I tried playing Birth by Sleep, and that was kind of where I just was like, I'm getting lost in the weeds here. I have no fucking clue what's going on in this series anymore. I'm more fascinated by Kingdom Hearts as just like a cultural oddity. I'm just mesmerized by the fact that it even exists. I guess is like my fascination with it because it shouldn't. I mean, considering how protective and ironclad Disney is with their intellectual properties, it's pretty amazing that that got through. That Square, I guess at the time Square Soft, now Square Enix, approached Disney with that idea, and Disney was like, "Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, we'll do it." Because it's insane. It's just an insane thing that exists. Um, because Disney cartoons, Disney movies are pretty straightforward. They're pretty linear, just tales of like just pretty simple heroes' journeys. But the Kingdom Hearts series is the most convoluted, just labyrinth of storytelling I've ever seen. And so it's interesting to me that it just even exists to begin with. But I don't have the mind or the patience to play all of them. And I think it would ultimately be pretty unrewarding because I've heard Kingdom Hearts 3 is not that good. Um, so but I did see the trailer. They dropped a teaser for the fourth one, and it looks pretty sick. So I might pick that up because it looks like they finally, after 20 years, they wrapped up the first story of the series, the Dark Seeker saga, the tale of Xehanort and the Keyblade Wars or whatever. So it took them about 20 years to finish that. So it looks like part four is a good jumping on point for the series. It looks like it's gonna serve as sort of a soft reboot. It'll probably still be incomprehensible for the most part, but who cares? I don't think anyone is getting into like Japanese anime type shit because it makes sense. I think it's just a spectacle. A lot of style, a lot of crazy shit happening on screen. It's fun to look at. Um, but the Japanese mind is such a mystery. What they're coming up with over there. We're not meant to understand these things in the West. Um, what was I getting? Oh yeah. Okay, so here's the story. Uh, what I was talking about. If you stream a lot and engage with the chat, um, and what do Will say? Anime is for women with BPD. It seems not necessarily BPD, just female autism, which can sometimes can resemble BPD. For women, BPD and autism are very analogous to one another. Um, it's tough because a BPD woman is not necessarily autistic, but she is annoying and she's manipulative, and there's just something like really off about her. But the BPD is much more insidious than autism. Um, because I've encountered both in my life, and BPD women tend to not necessarily be into anime for the love of anime. They're not necessarily fans. Their interest in anime is born from their desire to exploit the money and attention of desperate men. So they've taken an interest in this art form, in this form of entertainment that has primarily been enjoyed by uh, uh, desperate virginal men, and they're utilizing that to then just suck the attention and money out of those guys. Whereas a woman with autism who is into anime is absolutely into it, and it can be kind of indistinguishable because she's still a woman, so you got to be on guard. But I've encountered it where it's like, no, this she really likes anime, and she has no interest in manipulating me. She actually does want to discuss One Piece. Um, so that's sort of the distinction there. It's anime. Anime is primarily for dudes, uh, especially blacks and Hispanics for some reason. But also, you've got your honkies that like it, your crackers that enjoy it, your big fat smelly neckbeards such as myself. That's the primary audience for it. But then the secondary audience and another big percentage of the anime fan base would be autistic women, and then right below that would be women with BPD who are honestly making the most money on anime. They're probably making more money using anime to seduce men on the internet than the people that actually create the anime are making. Than anyone in those animators' rooms or whoever actually makes it. If some girl gets on Twitch and she's wearing like a Goku shirt or whatever, and it is going on and on about how much she loves Dragon Ball Z. She's probably making more money from doing that than anyone that actually works in animation. That actually creates those shows. That's the thing. Everything's topsy turvy. You know, the people that are just fans of stuff, if they are interesting enough in their own interest, they actually end up doing better than anyone that actually worked on the thing that they're a fan of. And that's what I was getting at here, because this is the guy XQC, who was a Twitch star, but it looks like he's moved over to Kick, and he has signed a $100 million deal with Kick, which is another some sort of streaming platform. Um, so I don't know what's going on. I don't know. It's only been within the last like 4 months that I've become aware of these people and started to explore whatever this world is. And I was not aware of the amount of money being thrown around in the world of streaming. And I don't know what they do. I don't know what they do because from what I've seen of XQC, of Kai Sanat, of Aiden Ross, they don't seem to do much of anything. I don't even know if they're playing video games most of the time. They seem to just be staring slack jawed at a computer screen while a bunch of shit is popping off in the chat, and then every now and then they say something referencing the people in the chat, and then they make millions of dollars doing that. I cannot wrap my head around this, and it's I mean whatever. Everything sucks now, so it's like obviously this is where people are going to go for their entertainment. If you fire up all these streaming apps and there's just nothing of fucking value to watch, then you're going to head to you're going to just watch some guy gawk at his computer, because that's about as good as a Ted Lasso, I guess, probably. um, I don't know. Yeah, I guess the takeaway, one could view this as the harbinger of the downfall of Western civilization, that seemingly unskilled, untalented people are being rewarded this much money for what they do on these various platforms. You could look at it that way, or you could be inspired. You can finally say to yourself, "There's no excuse to be poor in this country." This country being, the West, I suppose. The United States, Canada. The good ones. There's no excuse. You get in front of a computer and you start hooting and hollering and making noises and doing live streams, and then bing bang boom, $100 million. Which I guess is what he did. I don't know. I don't know what this is. I just I guess like I guess my thinking is, you know whenever you talk, whenever you're a boy or a girl or anything in between, growing up and then going to college or whatever, you're surrounded by people who tell you like the good and virtuous and right things to do in life, and there's no shortcuts, and you have to work hard, and you do this, this, and this, and money's not everything. Money's not going to buy you happiness or whatever. And then and they, but the thing they try to impart onto you is that there's some like nobility in suffering and doing some bullshit for not a lot of money, you know. And now that I'm older, I realize that's a coping mechanism by people in their middle and old age who never fucking achieved anything and broke their backs for a corporation and received and just fucking nothing to show for it. And so they try to spin it as though there's some virtue in what they did, where it's like, okay, well, you were responsible, you took care of a family, but you didn't accomplish anything. You didn't accumulate any real wealth in your life, and you're gonna die poor, and then your family has to pick up the cost of that funeral, and you've only created more suffering than you have joy in this world by continuing to work some bullshit job instead of trying to navigate and find some other way to make tons and tons of excuse me. I just ate a bunch of vegetables with ranch dressing, not a salad. I made ranch with Duke's mayonnaise and buttermilk and the ranch packet, the Hidden Valley ranch pack. I'm not buying the shit in the bottle. That's gross. But I will do the packet, and then I dipped a bunch of vegetables in that. So I had carrots and bell peppers and cucumbers with a bunch of ranch dressing. And now I'm burping. I also had a Barks root beer, which was tasty. Not my favorite. I hadn't had a Barks in a while, but I thought, I'll pick up a Barks, and yeah, it's not my favorite. I enjoyed it, but I'd rather have an IBC or an A&W or even a mug, maybe. Um. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, I guess. You know, it's that Wolf of Wall Street thing. There's no nobility in poverty. There's no nobility in doing some bullshit for a company that doesn't really value you just because you think that to try and do this the shuck and jive that's necessary to have a lucrative media career is somehow embarrassing or lacking in virtue. And it's like, all right, well, have fun being fucking poor forever. All right, you're gonna go clock in and out every day at whatever fucking office you work at because what? Because you're embarrassed. You think there's shame in gaming the system. All right, pal. Not me. I'm fucking live streaming. I'm doing what I got to do. All right, because I refuse to do that. Um, 9 to 5. It's for the birds. It's not even 9 to 5. I've never worked a 9 to 5 in my life because there's no job that gives you a free lunch. So every job I've ever had has been 9 to 6 with a 1 hour unpaid lunch. Um, oh, happy birthday to your dad, John. What are you cooking for him? To Tino's Party Pizzas? That's what I would cook for my dad. But yeah, every job I've ever had has been 9 to 6, unpaid lunch. I've never had 9 to 5. Um, wait, what'd you say? All that money is coming from kids consuming their stuff. Have to appeal to them. Yeah, that's the demographic. Yeah. Um, that's the yeah. Every marketing exec and ad agency is focused on like really just like children, and then 18 to 34, and then after that, fuck off. Logans run you. The day you hit 35, it's like nope, you're out. Nobody is. making anything for you now. Is not, there's no value in it. So yeah, I mean, kids is a huge demographic. I mean, we all had it when I don't know how old you guys are, but I mean, I remember when I was a kid, there was no streamers or anything like that. But I mean, shit, dude, there was so much. You know, everything was made for kids. That was that $1 billion industry was just SpongeBob and SpongeBob merchandise and shit like that. So that's I mean that's always been the case. Um, and I get well, I now that every adult kind of exists in this state of like perpetual adolescence, who knows? I don't know if they even know what like how or what to sell to people anymore because it's like I mean if there is a sizable market of like adults who want to buy toys for themselves, then that is confusing. But it's like, yeah, I guess we have to market. Let's try and figure out a way to keep squeezing money out of these people with the same shit that we're using for children. Um, I mean, dude, I see like people all the time, grown fucking people who do like cartoon retrospectives on YouTube and stuff like that. Like I'll be scrolling through Twitter or TikTok or whatever, and it'll be a guy in his like mid to late 30s who is promoting his channel. So it'll be like a clip of what he does. And it's just a guy like talking about Courage the Cowardly Dog. You know, it's just like, yeah, man, that was for children. That was for children. That was for like when we were that age. That was for us. That is not supposed to be something that is carried with you into adulthood. What does scripture say? When I was a boy, I was a fucking idiot, and I liked things for boys. And then I grew up and got pussy. I think that's in the Bible somewhere. Um, you know, uh, uh, yeah. Will is on my side. Throw me in the dirt before I think you meant to say wax before I wax poetically about some TV shows from my youth. Yeah, I tried to avoid nostalgia, the trappings of nostalgia, because there's just no way to reclaim that. It's gone forever. So it's like I the thing that hurts with like the nostalgia in general. The thing that is like painful is like that feeling of did I enjoy this enough as it was happening, and what is my life now like as because as a kid, as a young boy, all of those things that were being made for people my age at the time, yeah, I lived for those things. I loved watching cartoons and being a child, and I derived a lot of enjoyment out of those things. And I think it speaks to like this overall lack of development and just overall unhappiness in so many people's lives that we still like will like cling to that moment in time. But that's just like that's the, it's almost like a form of self harm to try and just like hold on to the past in that way because it's just gone forever. And so like when I think about that stuff, it's like yeah, I mean I certainly fucking I enjoyed all of that as it was happening. And I guess like as an adult now, where my life is, shit sucks. So I'm certainly not enjoying anything as much as I enjoyed, Hey Arnold when I was a child. But I'm not gonna, as an adult now, I'm not gonna fucking go and watch episodes of Hey Arnold. It's not. I don't think that's the solution here. I got to push forward and move on. Um, yeah, I don't know. I guess as one starts to grapple with time and age and mortality, there can be some comfort in returning to the one's youth in some way. But John, anime doesn't count. You can watch anime as an adult. That's fine. Uh, I guess so. I guess a lot of it is made for adults. But yeah, you know what I mean. You just have to like move forward and move on. I read comic books for a long time as an adult, and I got to a point when I really was like, man, this shit is for children. This this is this is for children, and there is something malevolent happening in the way that all of this now is being marketed and created for adults. Because I've talked about this with people before that if you go into a comic book store nowadays, you there's no kids in there. Very rarely do you see children in a comic book store. It's always like guys in their like late 20s and 30s and even 40. Like shit, dude, it's just a bunch of like old dudes um that go to comic book stores and to buy like Spider-Man comic books and like Superman shit. It's like, yeah, I mean, this is for kids. That's for children. And I mean, there are comic books that are made for adults. And I guess that's fine, but I mean, just I had that realization where I'm like thumbing through a Daredevil comic and being like, man, this is sneaky because they're trying to make it seem like this is some dark, twisted story, of the superheroes. That's like one of the few that's like a mainline Marvel character that they try to present as edgy. But and even then, I'm just like, man, this is for fucking kids. It's just some guy putting on tights, running around fighting crime by himself. Damn, dude, I should be embarrassed by how many of these things I own. Um, but yeah, people just don't want to grow up anymore. I'm guilty of this. I'm trying to push forward myself, trying to be a mature man. Smoke cigars, smoke a pipe, read Tolstoy or something. Big fat Russian books. Um, let's see. John said, never been to a comic book store, read a comic, can't judge either way. Comic book stores are fun, I guess. Like I like the thing is like if you have that thing in you where you just like collecting things, I guess that can be fun. But I mean, I don't know. As far as resale value goes, there is yeah, I guess there's some that have resale value. That doesn't really exist that much anymore. That this sort of appreciating value in comic books because they don't print them that way anymore. So every now and then, like an independent publisher or something will make something that is limited in its like first run printing that I think will be worth money or something. But the market is just like so saturated in the way they print stuff now. I don't know if there's anything that's being printed in the last like 15 to 20 years that you could say is like worth anything. I have no idea. Um, cause cause that nobody knew that there was ever going to be a market for comic books. They had no value for many many years, and then at a certain point, this secondary market popped up for comic books where stuff from like the 30s and 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s was like worth money because there was just so few of them that even existed. They didn't print like tons and tons of them, and so if you had your hands on a copy of that, there was this new market that was like starting to exist of collectors that wanted to buy this stuff, and so there was this moment in time when you would see like you know certain issues of comic books going for thousands and thousands of dollars, and so that creates this like Beanie Baby esque buzz. And this predates Beanie Babies, but to give you a point of reference, NFTs also, I guess, is like another example. But it created this big buzz that like, oh shit, like people are getting rich on fucking comic books, and so then this feedback thing happened where the publishers caught on to this, and so they started artificially trying to create value for their books. Yeah, false scarcity. Uh, yeah, thank you. I think that, yeah, I think that is like one way to put it at that time, because the publishers catch on that this is happening. So what they start doing is they'll do these like first run printings, and they're like, we're only only so many in this first run, and it's a mad dash to buy up whatever this book is. So you'll have like individual people going to a comic book store, just one guy, and buying like 20 copies of Spawn #1 or whatever it was at the time. And so it's artificially inflating the value of all this stuff. And so there is like this pocket, this window when like all this shit is like does have a value, and the secondary market exists for it. But then the bubble burst, and that whole market went tits up, and it kind of like ruined the value, and it just ruined like the entire um, perception of comic books, I think, for a time. And so, yeah, I don't know if that. Yeah, I don't think that exists anymore. I think if anyone's buying comics, they're buying them just because they enjoy them. I don't think anyone's like thinking of them in terms of like an investment these days. Um, but my philosophy on all of this is I you so a lot of people talk about like physical media now, and my thinking is like I would like to own less stuff. Like I get anxious if I go to someone's house and they just have like a ton of shit. Like, they have like a huge record collection and tons of Blu-rays and DVDs and books and all this shit. Like I'm of the mind that like if you can enjoy it digitally, then that's fine. But I don't see any reason to own tons and tons of like physical stuff, because I think it weighs you down physically. So if you ever need to move or do anything, you just have all this shit you have to fucking deal with, and then it just weighs you down spiritually. This is the Marie Kondo. What was her thing? That year that everybody was just throwing shit away. Does this spark joy? Um, I don't know. Well, no, John. I get. Okay, here's the thing. If it if to you, the person, the individual, if it's valuable to you and it brings you some sense of fulfillment to own all this stuff, fine. I'm just of the mind that like I don't have any desire to own a ton of like physical stuff. Um, and now that like so much of everything can be like compressed down into um, the digital space, if I can enjoy it that way, whether it's movies or TV shows or whatever, then to me that's just a much more free way to live. Um, oh, well, I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or what. I don't care. I'm not mad at you. Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, because okay, here's an example. Because I got to. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine, John. You don't have to. Hey, it's fine. We're on the same side. Even if you disagreed with me, we're on the same side. Um, here's an example. I got a cousin who is, I think, maybe undiagnosed autistic. Uh, and we'll never know because he's Mexican, and so that they're too macho to ever look into that. But he's in his 40s, and he's a big fan of video games. And he grew up, he was a child right at the time that the first Nintendo Entertainment System hit. So he's been there since like the beginning. And so that's like a big part of his DNA is Super Mario and just video games in general. And so I remember I went to his house a few years ago. Him and his wife, um, my other cousin, they just bought this new house, and he was like, "Yo, I got to show you the game room." And so he takes me into this room in his house that is wall to wall video games. He's got every single console that you can think of, and he's trying to get every single game for every single console. Shit that I like, so much shit he's never going to play. Just like a bunch of bullshit is in there. Just like all these games. It's just this obsessive thing in him that he wants to own all this stuff. So he's got all that, and then he's also got like a couple of arcade cabinets in his foyer. Um, it was like overwhelming for me. Like I went in that game room and I was like, dude, what the fuck is this? And and then his wife revealed to me that they are in a considerable amount of debt because of that. That's part of it. And then they also just have all the debts that come with being an adult. But then the stupid, hey, look, I got a lot of stupid debts myself, especially what happened to me during my brain accident. I'm saddled up with some bills. Yeah, that like being in that room, I was like, dude, this gives me so much anxiety that you just have to like, I was just thinking like, man, to own this much stuff, this much like technology and video game shit and you have to like keep up with this the rest of your life. I was like, damn, man, this is just stressing me out being in here. And then he was like, "Do you want to play the Turbo Graphics?" And I was like, "Yeah, I guess." I never played one before, and it sucked. Uh, a terrible system. Um, yeah, but I think the best that video games ever got was probably PlayStation 2, maybe. I don't know. Maybe that is maybe I'm getting caught in the nostalgia trap. Who knows? I don't like the way they work now, where it's like you have to be online, and it's this piecemeal thing where it's like you download the game and there's DLCs that are going to come out, and then all this other shit you have to pay for, and the game's not even that good. Like they focus on all the wrong things. Where it's like, oh, it's hyper detailed and all, a world, um a star-studded cast of voice actors and big open world, and then you play the game and it's like, well, this is just like tedious and fucking boring. Just a lot of like mundanity and tedium exists in this game. Um, whereas like the most fun I've ever had has been on something that like uses oh yeah, yes, Danny. Yeah, okay, that was you. I was wondering if that was you. Yes, thank you for subscribing to the Patreon. Everybody subscribe to the Patreon. Yeah, thank you, Danny. Sleep nighty night. Don't let the bed bugs bite. What was I getting into though? I don't know. I don't play anything anymore. I think the last um time I really enjoyed a video game was like Bloodborne. That was fun. Um, yeah. Hey, look, I'm poor too, John, but it's a mindset. Okay, poverty is a mindset. You get caught in this what kind of gay shit is going on here? We're talking money. We're talking financial freedom, getting out of debt, building wealth, creating passive streams of income. Rich dad, poor dad. I have not played Elden Ring. Uh, that came out when I was going through some shit. But I will say, of all the stuff that exists these days, of all the games that exist, I have had more fun and been brought more joy by those games, the From Software games, than anything else. I love Dark Souls. I love Dark Souls 2. I love Dark Souls 3. I love Bloodborne. I never did play Sekiro, and I've not played Elden Ring. But I'll tell you what, I played through Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3 probably like 10 times each. I got a lot of mileage out of those. I enjoy that shit. For a number of reasons. First off, it just lets me play the game. No bullshit. I'm not sitting through a fucking movie at the beginning. I'm not going through some long-winded tutorial. The game itself ain't even fucking really telling me what's going on. I'm lost. But you know what? I got a sword or some sort of sharp weapon or blunt weapon, and I got and I have ambition. I'm supposed to be doing something, so that's fun. Um, and people say those games are very difficult, and they can be, but they're scaled, they're balanced. So if you play and you start learning your way around it and understanding how the like mechanics of the game work, then you can start like building your character in a way that you start like dominating in the game. And then when you're on your second or third playthrough, when you're on a new game plus, you're just fucking slaughtering everything in your path. So that it's a good feeling to become a god within the game. Bloodborne is the best one. Like I said, I haven't played Elden Ring, but of the four that I've played, the three Dark Souls games and Bloodborne was absolutely my favorite. Artistically, thematically, um, narratively, I thought it had the most interesting story of all those games. That game rocks, and it's spooky. It's the spooky one. And there's definitely spooky moments in Dark Souls, but Bloodborne is wall to wall spooky. Um, and I remember when I first played it, the first like 2 hours of me playing Bloodborne was me screaming at my television and tossing my controller across the room. I was so fucking frustrated with that game. But if you persevere, much like a life, you're rewarded for it. Merry Christmas, Raphael. Yes, I hope everyone had a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Um, yeah, yeah, we are talking video game. Well, honest, the video game talk is a segue into financial freedom because what I'm saying about Bloodborne is that as difficult as it is, as insignificant as you feel and powerless in this world of Bloodborne, if you persevere and keep fighting, keep picking yourself up and swinging your weapon around, cocking your gun, because you don't have a shield in that game. You have a gun instead of a shield. If you keep pushing forward, eventually you actually do become a literal god, some sort of old god, like a Lovecraftian old god, is what ends up happening, and that's a metaphor for financial freedom, because in this life itself is much more difficult than Bloodborne. It's way more difficult than Dark Souls, than Bloodborne, than Sekiro, than Elden Ring, and we all each of our paths are different, but the commonality with all of us is we experience ups and downs, ebbs and flows. We have moments of great victory and moments of punishing defeat. And the real measure of a man in his mettle is how he responds in the face of those defeats. And where we learn and where we become galvanized and strengthened is upon defeat, picking ourselves up and pushing forward, learning from the path traveled thus far, and dominating moving forward. You know, and so that's where we get into the path to financial freedom, because money is a tricky thing. and many people get caught, where many people fail is they get caught in the defeatist mindset. To put it in Dark Souls terms, they become hollow. They become hollows. They're forever cursed and have accepted this existence of just insignificance and torment. You know, because in their minds, in many people's minds, that's an easier, more comfortable um, path than actually putting in the work. And as they say, to use the parlance of the internet regarding Dark Souls, then getting good. Okay, because no matter what happens, it's all mindset, right? Think about it. You go into you're in Blight Town or the Undead Burrow or wherever, and you're just getting fucking eaten alive every time you step foot outside the bonfire. You know, and you could just give up, turn the game off, walk away, or you keep trying, you keep looking for new techniques, new paths, new strategies, and eventually you defeat all of the hollows, all of the enemies in the fucking Blight Town or whatever, and then you're up against some, like a spy. You're fighting like a spider lady or something, which I guess in life would be, I don't know, securing a home loan. Uh, you know, it's not exactly a one-to-one comparison, but you get what I'm saying. But yes, Raphael is right. It's easier to not do something than to do something, and so um, I think because I was there, I was Spider Lady with huge tits. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. I'm also John. I'm also lost in this metaphor. I've kind of lost the plot on this one. I think what I'm saying is that the you can get beat down. You can get knocked down, and it's your choice. But I say I get knocked down, but I get up again, and you ain't ever gonna keep me down, Chumbawamba. Uh, but I was there. Like after everything that happened with everything that happened with me, I wanted to just give up. I really thought like it'll be easier to just like you know prostrate myself upon this earth and just give up. And then eventually I had this realization that in that is going to that's going to create more just torment and suffering in my life, and be just it'll be hell on earth for me if I do that. And it's an easy choice. It could it's easy to do that. That's the yeah. But in the long run, you suffer for that. So, um, what one must do is to keep trying, and keep working at it. And also, very important, do not have kids when you're not ready. That's also important. I think you always have a chance as long as you don't get saddled with a family when you're not ready for that. Um, Damn, dude, this is a good back scratcher. It's a metal one, so it's really digging in there. Um, so how do we escape poverty? How do we achieve financial freedom? Well, you're not going to find that at your 9 to 5. If you just have a job, that's good. You need stability. You need a foundation upon which to build your empire. But a 9 to 5 is not going to reward you. You know, you serve a purpose. You're a cog in the machine of whatever company you work for, and you're paid accordingly. Um, you get your paycheck, and then every year or two you get a 25-cent raise. So you're stuck in a rut with that. So you have to be spectacular, folks. You got to figure out some way to make far more money than you ever would toiling away at a 9 to 5. And that's where investments come in. That's where doing live streams, doing some, finding something in your off time to do to create another revenue stream that will then overtake, what everything you've been doing. Then you create multiple revenue streams. You buy up land, you buy up housing developments, you become a realist, you get into real estate, you become a landlord, and that's where the money is land and housing. So that's the path of financial freedom, is figure out a way to make enough money that you can then buy up real estate, and then now your money's working for you. When you get into real estate, or so I've been told by that Chinese guy, um, Kiyosaki. What's his name? Rich Dad Poor Dad. Uh, anyway, I'm talking out of my ass, dude. I'm fucking poor as shit right now, but that's the thing. I'm getting out of it. I was defeated by the spider with big tits, but I'm not. I'm down, but I'm not out. I'm back at the bonfire. I've restored my humanity, and I'm venturing forth back into Lothric. um. Oh yeah, John, you're going back to work after months of disability, and you're afraid you won't perform well. Well, I'll tell you this, man. Yo, I was out for a while. Like after the shit I went through, I was fucked up for a long time. It like just kind of in a coma basically. And when I finally, you know, regained function, my functioning, uh, it was like, well, I have to, I have to do stuff. And so I've been working for a while now, and it's great. Uh, Routine is very important. Um, yeah, look, the brain is the legs of the head. So you couldn't walk, and I couldn't walk mentally. Think about it that way. Uh, and by the way, if you were smart, you wouldn't even need a job where you need your legs. What I do now, you could cut my fucking legs off, and I would still perform exceedingly well at my job now. I do not need legs to do my job. I like having legs. Don't cut them off, but um, I don't need legs to do my job that I have now. But I've been working, and it's very good to have routine. Routine is important. I think Kant talked about this. Uh, and, um, David Lynch also talks about this kind of stuff. But having stability and routine in your life, having like this what am I saying? This path you walk down every day. You know, I wake up 7:55, clock in at 8, watch some YouTube videos, take some calls. What I'm saying is like I have stability, I have a foundation, and I just have like this thing that anchors me in my like routine and in my day job, my day to day. And I think that's very important. And then outside of that, I can now focus on all of my like extracurricular creative endeavors, the things I really want to do, and build a greater empire than I had before. Um, yeah, it's fine. Hey, you can vent here, John. You can vent here. We're all. This is a brotherhood right here, and if there's any ladies here, it's also a sisterhood. How's the sex life? Well, it's not. Come on, man. A gentleman doesn't kiss and tell. I mean, come on. Don't even trip on that. I also, honestly, that is something I probably should never talk about again. just out of respect for the whoever the woman may be and myself, because I Yeah, I really like hurt somebody by like talking about that kind of shit publicly, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to like drag somebody down, like drag somebody into my bullshit. And so yeah, it's probably smart to just like keep that to myself moving forward, just in just with everything, like anything to do with like a sex life. I know like so many people are like very open about that stuff now. Um, but you know, I'm kind of back to tradition on that. Close the door, lock the door, pull the blind, pull the curtains, close the curtains. Behind closed doors is that that's how that goes. Um, and I don't think that's being repressed. I think it's just like you know, just being respectful, being dignified. Hoes with different area codes. No, none of my hoes have phones. Um, they're homeless. They got Straight Talk, Walmart, prepaid phones. Um, a gentleman doesn't eat ass and tell. I can't believe people do that. I'm gonna be honest with you. When that hit, when people started talking about that shit, first off, my first thought was, ew, ew. And then my second thought was, why are y'all telling us that you do this? Ew. That's some wild shit. That's kinky. That's like nasty shit. Keep that to yourself. Gross. Um God damn it, I can't get this fucking some they put water in a fucking one of these like Coors Light aluminum bottles. You ever seen this? Howl. Oh, it's an acronym. Hyper pure oxygenated water, purified water. No, I know that's bullshit. That's a scam. I can't get the fucking bottle open. God damn it. What does this mean? What oxygenated water? The water already has oxygen. That's the molecule is H2O, two hydrogen, one oxygen. So what the fuck? I did use my shirt to twist it, and yep, I got it. But what the fuck does oxygenated water mean? Because it's already a fundamental component of water is oxygen. Water Earth people are distinctively smooth and crisp taste will have you wondering just how we do it. Inspired by nature. That okay, wait. Inspired by nature. It is nature. It's water. It's water. It's not inspired by nature. It is nature. Inspired by nature. Our patented system replicates the best water nature ever created without harvesting nature's most pristine resources. We think it's time for a new approach, responsibly sourced and sustainably packaged right here in Texas. For the people, by the people, with the people. Taste the future of hydration. So you know what that says right there? That little paragraph they put on the bottle here. That was a fancy way. That was a highfalutin market research way of saying that what they did was run fucking tap water through a filter. They just got tap water and ran it through a filter. Is what that said. Without having like replicates the best water nature ever created without harvesting nature's most pristine resources. What do they think? What do they think getting water does? Like if I go to a fucking do you think Evian is just decimating the French Alps to get their water? I don't know. I don't know what this means. Like this is just some bullshit that they're putting on the bottle to make it seem like what they've done is not just repackaged tap water. Um, and it says here hyper pure, oxygen enriched, pH 8.0 alkaline, infinitely recyclable. It's water. It's always been infinitely recyclable. That's the fucking what do they teach? They teach you in school the water cycle. You don't even have to do anything. You drink water, you piss. You don't. It's the easiest thing to recycle. You have to do nothing, and it recycles itself. Maybe they're talking about the bottle itself. I do like this. I think this is a better way to package water. If you're not going to use glass, use like some sort of aluminum like this. I think they got that right. But the water itself being this like pH oxygenated bullshit is just telling me that all they did was they ran tap water through some sort of like probably some sort of like proprietary filtration system. So not a Brita filter, but just their own version of a Brita filter. And then they put it in a Coors Light, one of these Coors Light aluminum bottles. And then they had to like do it up fancy with the design and the packaging to make it seem like it's worth paying whatever they're charging for this fucking bottle of water. And that's not to yes, that you're welcome. I'm glad to chat. I'm just just complaining about water now. Yes. So would you say soon enough we'll have water flavored? Can't believe it's not water. I can't wait. Oh, I'm glad your dad likes the food. Tell him we said happy birthday. What did you end up cooking for him? Um, what did you end up making for him? Sandwiches? Who know? I don't know. I can't. It's somewhere here in the chat. Anyway, that's wholesome. Cooking food for your dad. That's what it's all about here is good vibes and positivity. But what was I saying? Yeah, so the future of hydration. I don't know what any of this. I don't know what any of this means. Like the hydration doesn't need a. I mean, the future of hydration should just be that. Like I hope we have water in the future, but you don't have to do anything else with it. It was perfect. Day one, they got water right. Day one, and fussing with it is not gonna you're not gonna improve water. Um, and there's different sources, of water that have like different mineral contents, and there is that. So if you have a preference, depending on what you're looking for, there is like different qualities and variants of water that are out there. But this shit they make where it's like all this science bullshit they try and throw into it, that's bullshit. The real shit is you get an Evian or a Fiji or an Aquapana, Saratoga, Mountain Valley, Arrowhead, Gerolsteiner, Topo Chico, San Pellegrino, Perrier, so many options. Icelandic, Voss. I can't think of any others, but you'll get one of them. It's natural water, straight from the source, and they ain't done nothing with it except put it in the bottle. And so it's not that they're not trying to sell you on the future of hydration. They're just like, hey, this is what hydration's always been, and it's fucking good, ain't it? If I drink an Evian, I can feel it. I feel the power, the brisk air of the French Alps. I feel it coursing through me. And it tastes good too. It does have a distinct flavor profile. Same with Fiji, same with Mountain Valley, all of them. Each one of them each has a distinct flavor, and mineral content, and those are good. But this shit that I have right here, this hyper pure oxygenated water, comes in a nice bottle, but the contents are some bullshit. Man, this is a tedious rant. This is something that I think most people. Does anyone think about this? Does anyone care about this? I don't know. But I guess what I'm getting at is like most bottled water is just a scam. Everybody's fucking scared of tap water now. So so many homes you go into, it's like they're either drinking just straight bottled water, or they have a Brita filter. And it's like, damn, dude, Are you that much of a pussy that you can't drink the water out of your fucking tap? Jesus Christ. I'll drink tap water everywhere I go, every restaurant I go to, everywhere. I'm just like, I'm drinking fucking. I'll drink tap water. Um, let's see how this. I don't know how this tastes. Tastes like nothing. Just tastes like water. Refreshing. I was very parched. I put a Zen in before this, and it's sucked. It's sapped me of all my moisture. When you put a Zen in and you hiccup a lot, and then you sweat out all of your salts and electrolytes, and you feel kind of woozy and lightheaded and just nauseous. Um, that's how I've been feeling for the last hour. But I can't stop doing them. I can't stop doing these Zens. Um, what do I have? Wintergreen #6. Uh, yeah. Well, Raphael says drinking tap where he is not advisable. Everybody has a filter. But you're in like some like third world country, right? You're in like Mexico or somewhere. I don't know where you are, but it depends. Yeah, I mean, even here in the States, it does depend on the city because obviously, if you watch the news, like it would be ill advised to drink the tap water in like Flint, Michigan, but the tap water in New York is delicious. It's fine. Um, I do remember my mom. eh, she's from. Oh, you're in Brazil. Even worse. Even worse than Mexico. Not. I mean, I don't know. I've never been to either. I like the movie. I like the Terry Gilliam movie. Uh, and I like how Brazilian women have big fat asses. That's fun. Um, what was I? Oh yeah, my mom is from Amarillo, Texas, and so all of her family is still there, and so every holiday, Christmas or whatever, we always would go to Amarillo, and that city, I don't know what's going on in that city, but their water supply is tainted. I like their water, the entire city's water, tap water everywhere in that city tastes like farts. It's so gross. It's you pour a glass and it's cloudy, and you got to wait for the clouds to part. You got to wait for your water to clear up, and and you drink it, and it just tastes really bad. Like something's wrong with it. So nobody in that city is actually drinking their tap water. Everywhere, everybody has either bottled water. That bottled water. I don't even think they use filters. I don't even think the filters fucking work there to like filter out like whatever that taste is. Like I think it's like sulfur or something. It's fucking gross, dude. For a pretty sizable city that's like known for shit. It's not like it's not like a touristy place, but it's been on TV. They got that fucking big ass steak. If you go to the Big Texan, they got the 72-ounce steak. So if you eat that in like an hour, it's free. But where they get you with that, here's how they get you on the 72-ounce steak. You have to eat the sides too. So it's not just eating 4 pounds of steak. Is 72 ounces 4 pounds? What's how many ounces in a pound? 16, 32, 48. Um, anyway, I don't know. It's a lot of steak. But yes, you have to eat the steak and the fixins. So it's a big ass. It's a 72-ounce steak plus potato salad. Um, is that what comes after 48? Is 64? Yes, 64. So 5 pounds. So it's five. Wait, no, 4.5 pounds. See, 16, 32, 48, 64 plus 8 ounces. So it's 4.5 pounds of steak plus your potato, shrimp, salad, all the fixins. That's how they get you. That's how you get you on the 72-ounce steak. But that's on you if you choose to do that. It's a really fucking stupid thing to try and do. It's really dumb. Um, um, let's see. Oh, you're saying Brazil is better than Mexico. You. Raphael said, "Where I am, the chances of me being beheaded or something are about the same as yours wherever you are in the states." Okay, so yeah, yeah, slim. Yeah, I don't think the chances of me being beheaded are, it's up there with getting like struck by lightning or attacked by a shark, even though I never go to the beach. So, um, I'd love to visit Brazil. Looks fun. Um, or rather, it just looks neat. Even though, like, when you look at like a favela, it's like, man, that looks pretty cool. Even though you zoom in and it's like, oh no, there's just a bunch of fucking poor people stacked on top of each other. But aesthetically, it looks pretty cool. Uh, so and the fat asses as well. Um, and Brazilian pornography is fucking wild, dude. I don't know what they're saying to each other, but they seem very aggressive. They seem fucking mad that they're having sex. Um, the ocean's nice. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't, going to the beach is such a pain in the ass, though. You gotta prepare. You gotta lather up in all that sunscreen. And you got sand all over you. Um, and yo, I did that for a while. I took salsa classes for a little bit because I was like trying to be more well rounded or something. I don't know, but yeah, I like salsa. I like salsa music. I like salsa dancing. It's just I can't afford none of that right now. But yeah, salsa dancing's real fun, and it is a good way to at least touch some beautiful women. if if you're a pervert who can keep your cool, go take a salsa class because you will get to at least touch pretty ladies. And they seem cool with it. You might get a few a few less than desirables that you got to dance with. But for the most part, it's just beautiful women that go to salsa classes, and that's very fun. Watching they titties bounce. Um, yeah, damn, dude, I can't wait to get back to doing shit. I'm out in the middle of nowhere these days. Had to, had to do what I had to do to survive, to not die during my brain accident. But we build back better. Um, yeah, the ocean's nice. I will say the ocean is also something you should just never go into. Don't fuck with the ocean. Maybe go in waist deep, and that's as far as anyone should ever venture into the ocean. This it's not meant for us. The ocean is a harsh mistress, and the only creatures that should be in the ocean are that which are born from the ocean. I would like to go on a cruise. It does look fun. Cruises do. The older I get and the trashier I get, it's like, man, I'd fucking love to go gamble on a boat in the ocean. That'd be nice. Um, I've never done that. I like to go. I want to go on a Disney cruise, a Kingdom Hearts cruise. Oh man. Um, when was the last time I listened to "Crank That" by Soldier Boy, Tell 'Em in full? Probably 15 years ago. When did that come out? Probably when it came out when I was in like high school, maybe. I've seen that it's having a bit of a renaissance online. Um, but I haven't like revisited it. It's a fun tune. I mean, I don't hate it. But I haven't listened. I don't know if I ever listened to the full song. I think it was just like playing everywhere for a while when I was a kid. And so I just kind of absorbed it through like osmosis because it was just playing everywhere for a while. Um, but I didn't really get into hip hop music until, a couple weeks ago, I think, is when I started actually listening to rap. Um, I like Death Grips, which, when I discovered Death Grips, I was like, oh, cool. This is like a really cool rap group that I like. And I'm sure a lot of cool people also like this band. And it turns out, no, it's the lamest fucking white boys that like this is just like, oh no, it's one of those groups. It's one of those like, they just attracted the whitest, pastiest honkies as a rap group, and that's what they're stuck with. And that's probably why they don't do too many live shows because they have the absolute worst fucking fan base I've ever seen. They did a show. Did you see that? Death Grips did a live show in fucking Arkansas, which, if like, for any band to play any venue in Arkansas, the residents of whatever town that is should be eternally fucking grateful because there's no bands that ever go through that state. Um, and so for Death Grips to even like book that show is pretty fucking incredible. Like I have a lot of respect for them for doing that. But they get to the show, they get on stage and start performing, and immediately the crowd is just throwing shit at them and causing a ruckus. And I don't know how long they performed before the Zach Hill and MC Ride both were like, "All right, fuck y'all, the show's over," and they just ended the show. And it was like this story for a couple days, and I was like, that's fucking crazy. Because the next time any band is gonna roll through Bentonville, Arkansas, is gonna be like like the next Olympics. It's gonna be like years before anyone ever goes through that fucking town again. Um, but I commend them for doing that. I'm always amazed when bands that have been around for a while will still do smaller towns and smaller venues. It, it's pretty cool to me. It's just like to love what you do that much that you're like, that you're like, you just appreciate live performance that much that you go, I'll play a fucking bar in Denton, Texas or whatever. Even though I didn't like, I'm not gonna make any money doing this because I think like, um, the bigger the venue, the less like connection you have with the audience with anything. So I would say like any live performer would probably have more fun overall performing at like a smaller venue. It's just like there's no money to be made doing that. So it's like if you would have to make any real money, you'd have to play like theaters and arenas and shit like that. But doing like bars and rock clubs, that's not really where the money is. So I have a lot of respect for anybody that will still do that. Like I remember back in 2017, when At the Drive-In got back together, they did like a really small bar in Dallas as like a pop-up show. Because I had already bought tickets to their show at Southside Ballroom, which is like a pretty big rock venue. But then like a few nights before that, they just like decided they were going to do this like pop-up show at this place called Club Dada. And I was fucking blown away that they did that because I'm talking like full capacity. That place maybe will fit 50 people in it. So that, I mean, that was like pretty incredible that they even would do something like that. Um, what'd you say here? Zach Hill drumming go too crazy. Pretty clear you're a Bloody fan though. I don't know who that is. I've seen that name. I've never listened to that person. Bloody, is it Bloody or Blade? Blade. I don't know who that is. Um, well, I was a fan of Zach Hill before Death Grip. Before I like knew of Death Grips, I was a big fan of Hella. Uh, like I'd listened to like every Hella album, and so and and I knew of Death Grips, and I didn't know that he was the drummer, and somebody was telling me about Death Grips, and I found out that he was the drummer of the band. So that was like kind of what made me actually go listen to him, and I was like, oh yeah, this shit rocks. I like this a lot. I like this MC Ride fella, and I've been a fan of Zach Hill for years already, so this is right up my alley. Um, but yeah, I mean that was definitely the selling point for me with them was Zach Hill because I had a friend in oh, you saw Hella live? I bet that was cool. I'd love to see them live. Um, yeah, because I really like Zach Hill, and I don't know who that guitar. I forget the guitar player's name, but he seems like another maniac up there from what I've seen. Um, but I had a friend. I have a friend of mine who's actually like kind of famous now, I guess, on the internet. My buddy Brett Crow. This was years ago in my college town. He showed me Hella that album, that one album they did that has actual vocals on it. Um, there's no 666 in outer space, and it was like at first I felt like I was being attacked. I was like, oh my god, this is insane music. This is so dissonant and cacophonous. But I really enjoyed. I listened to the whole album. I was like, damn, this shit's awesome. And and so I went back and listened to all their albums, and then I got really into Zach Hill. So I like found all of the stuff that he did with Omar Rodriguez Lopez and stuff he did with that group Bygones. His solo stuff, that album he has, Face Tat. Um, yeah, he rocks. Let's see. So you saw Hella live. The drummer knocked over his floor tom and just kept playing like it was there. Yeah, that's Zach Hill. Yeah, I've watched shit like that on YouTube. Like he's such a fucking maniac on the drums that shit will just break or fall over or like whatever, and it just doesn't phase him. He just keeps going. Um, yeah, he's incredible. And by the way, the most impressive thing about him is what the sound that he's getting from what looks like a pretty basics like drum kit. Like it doesn't look like a very intricate kit that he's working with. But he's like get what he's getting out of it is so fucking crazy. I have no idea how he's doing what he's. I mean, I'm not a musician. I have no idea how anybody does what they do when it comes to music. But him especially, I'm like, man, he's getting a lot of fucking noise out of a pretty basic looking drum kit. Whereas like there's all these other bands like Tool, like Danny Carey's kit is like pretty fucking intricate, and then everybody's go to Neil Peart from Rush. Like there's all these guys who have these like big like fortresses surrounding them of like drum and percussion equipment, and then like Zach Hill is just like whatever he picked up at Guitar Center. It looks like. So I like that. Um I like it whenever anyone can do a lot with a little. You know what I mean? Just getting the absolute most out of pretty minimal tools, minimal equipment. um, you know, like whenever you see someone play like a one stringed instrument, like whatever that fucking like weird Chinese instrument is, it's just like, damn, dude, how are they getting this out of just one string? That's crazy. But that's ancient Chinese secret, huh? Do I know Black MIDI? Them and Luge are my favorite current bands right now. I don't know who that is. Um, I don't know who they are. I'm not like hip to most things, but there's things I enjoy, and I guess I try to discover stuff every now and then. I guess I'll have to look that up. I don't know who Black MIDI is. Have I listened to Ian Finance's ska band? I think I heard some of it. Yeah, I didn't hate it. I mean, I'm not like the biggest ska guy, but I'll listen to it every now and then. Yeah, I thought it was like as good as any ska music I've listened to. Um, and what did Crank Sinatra? Oh, okay, yeah. So you saw Hella for when they did "Hold Your Horses." Yeah, yeah. That's their first record. Yeah, I love that album. Yeah, it's all instrumentals. Yeah they only did one album with the singer. Um, but yeah, that was what's that song? Biblical Violence. That shit rocks. Um, yeah, ska music I guess is fun. I like horns. I was a horn guy in high school. I played trumpet in high school. Um, so I like it when somebody throws some horns into the mix. But it's got to be good. Um, it definitely a lot of ska music does sound real fucking corny. But some of it rocks for sure. Um, and I just I get honestly like the thing that's off putting about ska music is how much of it just sounds the same. Like it's all like a lot of it. There's not a lot of like distinction between ska bands. They all have that like a very similar sound. So like Monty Monty Boss Tones sounds almost identical to what's another one? Less Than Jake or Streetlight Manifesto. Like all these fucking bands at that time, they all had that like that kind of playing. Um, but there's definitely some that I really like. Does No Effects count? Is No Effects ska or are they just punk? Warp Tour bands. Yeah, there's a lot of that. The horn parts in ska bands are pretty boring. Yeah, there's no. But that's the other thing is there's very few ska bands where anybody in the band is like terribly proficient at music. So it's a lot of people who understand like the rudiments of whatever instrument they're playing, but none of the individual parts are doing anything particularly interesting. It's just vibes, I guess. It's just like very positive and upbeat kind of music, but yeah, there's not a lot happening musically necessarily. Do I know how Anthony Quinn passed? I love Anthony. Rest in peace. That was a bummer. Um, you told me he was a guest at the Loud Boys. Yeah, I remember him. I remember it. Yeah. I don't know. I never figured out what exactly happened there. I think it was maybe some heart troubles or a stroke, but I don't know. Um, I didn't pry into it too much. I just paid my respects however I could, and I was sad because I mean that was definitely like when we were doing that show. That was an episode that was one of the hardest I've ever laughed. Was hanging out with him. I fucking love that dude. He was so funny. And he was fun. He was funny in such a natural way too, where it was like I don't even think he understood. I don't think he understood why he was funny. I don't think he knew like what it was that was so like charming about him. Uh, he just had this like effortless thing where he was such a cartoon character. It was just fun to be around. Yeah, the beat, dude, the can of beans that they, dude, that's one of the funniest. We were asking like, yeah, what's some food you like? What do you like to eat? He's like, hey, no can of beans. Like, damn, dude, are you a fucking hobo? God damn, I fucking miss that guy. Yeah, he was amazing. Um, he did a roast battle, and I don't think he even knew what a roast battle was or how to write for one. Like, none of his jokes were necessarily even roasts. But the thing that was like making me laugh so hard was every time it was his turn, he would look at the guy he was battling and go, "Okay, tough guy. All right, pal." Every time he's like, "All right, tough guy. I see how it is." that was that was making us laugh so hard, just calling someone tough guy. Yeah, rest in peace, Anthony Quinn. He had a baby. That's a bummer, dude. He loved that baby. He would scream that into the microphone every night. I have a baby. He really wanted people to know he had a fucking baby. Um, yeah, it sucks. Fucking sucks to lose people. But that's that's life, man. I remember, I remember when I lost a buddy of mine, and we were all back in our hometown. Um, my buddy, one of my friends' dads, like we were talking about just what that felt like how just how sudden it all felt, and just all of it. And this is a guy in his like 60s or 70s, and he just looks up at us and he goes, "That's life." And then and then he looked back down at his phone, and that really stuck. That has really stuck with me. Just like that. It's not even defeatist, but just like that kind of acceptance to see that, to hear that from somebody where and it wasn't coming from a place of like not being compassionate or anything. To me, it just felt like the one of the more compassionate things anyone could have done was just be like, but hey, boys, get used to this. This is just life. People are gonna keep fucking dropping dead around you until it's your time. Um, which it's unfortunate, but I guess it's just one of them things. Yeah, fatalist. Yeah, I don't know. It sucks. It's just one of those things you have to accept that like there's no guarantee for anybody, and there's no like um yeah, I don't know. There's no real chart for anyone. There's no path that anyone's on necessarily. Like you have to create your own path, and at any moment for whatever reason that could just fucking end. You can get killed or have a fucking aneurysm, burst, like whatever can take you out. And if it's you that it happens to, you get off easy. You're done. You ain't gonna worry about shit no more. But to be someone who has to keep living and fucking you know dealing with all your friends and family just dying around you, it's a fucking bummer, dude. And I guess the that's why it's important to have like community and connections with people, and to be kind and compassionate and try to stay positive. Um, you know, and and that's I guess that's like where memory becomes a very powerful tool. Because though someone may be dead, their memory lives on within you. Like in that movie Coco. Um, but yeah, that's hey, that's life. Anyway, what time is it? Well, shit, I ain't got to work until like the afternoon. I'm on the night shift now, so my sleep schedule's gonna be fucked up. But this has been going for a while. Does anybody have any closing thoughts before we get out of here? Patreon.com / cornfed with Dalton Pruitt. Um, that's where all the premium episodes and bonus content are. We got a lot coming down the pike. Um, we whoop whoop family. I never did put the Zen in. You're welcome, Alex. Um, we were late on the main podcast this week, but it's up now. The episode "Flowers for Salgernon." I'm happy I came up with that title, but that was a fun one. The man, I tell you what, I know I hawk the Patreon constantly. The Patreon this week it was very fun because we just end up like watching stand up clips from like all like these like different local comics from Dallas that we remember, and we had such a fun time just critiquing their stand up sets. We were mostly just shitting on them. And hey, if anybody wants to see it, we might there might be a chance that in that episode we might do that. We might have done that with one of my former co-hosts. So if you want to see me be very petty, that might be there. But we also do it to me as well. So in the spirit of fairness, we do end up critiquing one of my stand-up sets. That was a fun one. And then what else is going? What else we got going on? The solo show, Lost in the Maze, is going to keep happening. I'm gonna continue the Beowulf series. Some people fucking hate it, but it's free. Um, but I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying rediscovering Beowulf and doing a little commentary after the readings. The new show, Double D's with DDT and Dalton, is going to be a regular show, but I gotta line it up. I gotta line it up with her each week, and she's kind of aloof. It's the holidays, now, so I think she's back home with her family right now. So we'll get one in the can when we can. But I love her. I love recording shit with her. She's fun. So stay tuned for all that. I'm gonna get back in. I took a little break to recharge the batteries and get people's mouths watering, but the titty videos are coming back. I've been tagged in a lot of stuff. People are sending me tits to look at, so the titty videos are coming back. But I just had to stop trying to force creativity, and I had to allow myself the time to just recharge creatively before I dive back in. It's only been a few days, but the titty videos are coming. And I'm gonna try and do more of these. The live streams are fun. It's difficult to hold a conversation by myself for what are we going on now? An hour 41. I got the chat here with me, so that helps. Talking to the chat. But it's the solo show. Is me talking to myself, bouncing all over the place. However I want. This one, I have a live audience. I got to be on my toes. I got to be ready for anything. And thank you, Raphael. I do script out the titty videos to some degree. I do write those. If I don't write everything out right, I at least have like the skeleton. I have an outline. So I do actually work on those. I do actually just sit there looking at a pair of tits, and I'm just like, But it's fun. It's a good way to get people's attention, and then I enjoy like when people watch them, and then they're kind of like taken aback by the fact that it's actually well done. They're like, "Oh wow, this is actually kind of eloquent. There's something poetic about this." So I'm glad people enjoy them. But yeah. So yeah, I want to do more live streams, but I gotta figure out like some structure with these maybe, or I guess I could just talk to the chat. I don't know. But things take shape as they go on. Any sitcom, at least in the past, they didn't know what the fuck they were doing. Starting out. Remember the first episode of Seinfeld? Kramer's name was Kessler. And then it was Kramer. So, things are always moving and shifting and evolving, and that's what we're experiencing here at the Billionaire Podcast Network. Ka-ching, bing, 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 dee, filler up, a subsidiary of Corn-Fed Industries. But yeah, thanks everyone for hopping in here. This has been a good one. I have a small but mighty following that grows every day, and I've been looking. We've averaged around 20 to 22 viewers during the live stream here. Ain't nothing to sneeze at, because the early ones, the last few, maybe 5 or 6 in the stream, in the chat viewing, and right now we're sitting 19. I think we topped out at 22, so it's growing every day. And if I can be this passionate for such a small audience who I do care about, then it'll only get better as the audience grows. You know what I mean? So thank from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And I'm gonna end it now. I love you. Good night. Sleep well, my children.